What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. My apologies for not getting a video out yesterday. I had an incredibly busy day. I actually have a very busy day today, but you know what, guys? We need to make these updates. We need to talk about what's going on, and you know that I cannot leave you hanging like this, especially during these crazy times for Bitcoin and commodities and just the overall economy, right? So we're going to talk about a lot of things today, and by the way, today's video is a little bit scattered, but we have a lot to go over. I highly recommend that you stay all the way to the end. Now, in today's video, you can see right here, we are continuing to the downside. Now, on the lower time frame, it does look, honestly, like Bitcoin could be forming a bottom formation. Now, it is the weekend. You know that I do not trust weekend moves, but if you look right here, it does sort of look like we are forming that double bottom. And in fact, if we actually switch it over to the daily chart, you could see that we are starting to put in a little bit of support. So it may actually be that time for a little bit of relief for Bitcoin. Obviously, it's the weekend. Just got to throw that out there. But what we got to talk about is, are we going through a transition right now, right? So we do have Powell coming out. We have extreme fear. He comes out and then, they raise it 75 basis points. He looks quite confident, by the way, about the fact that, they're definitely going to avoid a recession.
We have both the tools we need and the resolve that it will take to restore price stability on behalf of American families and businesses.
About those shaky hands, right? But nevertheless, you can see that as we were expecting, the dollar actually did bounce off of this area right here. So I guess short term, it is working. They are making the dollar, stronger short term, but will it actually last? Could we be heading towards even more inflation inevitably, or possibly even stagflation? How would that affect Bitcoin? Typically, we've seen Bitcoin fall 80% to 85% during some of the worst bear markets, but is it actually going to truly be worse this time? Will it be the worst bear market that Bitcoin has ever experienced? There are lots of things we could look at. For example, if we actually go back over here, our bar chart that we've put in right here, if I just zoom out, it's still playing out almost exactly as we had anticipated. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Look at this consolidation. It's almost like the whales are playing the exact same games. Look at this. We come down here, we find a bit of support, come up, there's usually that fake out, and then we do continue to the upside, right? And remember that I did take this fractal essentially from, back over here. This is what we were doing in this region. And if you just paste it over here, although it is, a little bit different, it's kind of the same game. It's the same whale games that they've been playing. And you do have to ask yourself this, for every sell, there's a buy, right? You can't sell Bitcoin if there's no one on the other side that's willing to buy it. So there has been a lot of selling. There has been a massive sell-off, but someone has been buying on the other end. Is it still the institutions? Well, we are going to look into that because they do play these games and they do have a plan. So we're going to go over a lot today, guys. I definitely, like I said, highly recommend that you stick around to the end of this video. A little bit of a rant, but we're going to go into a lot of different charts, a lot of different concepts. I want to play a video for you, and then I want to talk about the macro picture and whether or not you should even be buying Bitcoin right now, or if we are just going down to the $3,000 lows that people talk about. So if that sounds good to you, thank you for coming back. I hope you appreciate me making updates, even though, my goodness, it's been busy around here, but I love you guys. I can't leave you hanging, so let's dive in. Let's have a look at exactly what is going on. So usually we start the videos off, obviously, with some TA. I'm going to push the TA to the end of the video because I want to start off with more of a broader concept, and that's whether or not what the Fed is doing is actually going to work. There was this video, and I want to play a small clip. It was Randy Smallwood, and, he's been in these markets for a while. He's more of a gold guy, but he still understands the economy and, the tradition of the Fed and how they do often chicken out or they don't go through. And I just wanted to play this small clip of what he thinks is the inevitable of this situation.
I still, I think we're still just seeing the start of this inflation monster. And I really do think that in that sense, the US dollar is still going to be, there's going to be a lot of support from the Fed at the US dollar level. But I just don't know how much farther they can go on that before it gets dangerous from a US dollar perspective. You can get up to 15-20% inflation rates. Sit and think about the raw materials that feed into everything and how those prices have changed. And they're working their way through the supply chains now, and that's what we're seeing. And then you compound the fact that you're disrupting supply lines, very fragile, apparently, supply lines in terms of food and products out of Russia, out of the Ukraine. All of that is going to have downstream impacts all the way around. And so I truly believe we're just seeing the start of this inflation monster.
So you don't think that the Fed is going to be able to tackle inflation, even if they take a far more aggressive
they've got
tightening.
lots of bandages, and that's what they're going to do. But there's some structural issues with respect to the supply chain and the politics around the world and how that's going to have an impact, and it's just going to wind up laying its stamp on the US dollar in the long run. I think what you're going to see is diving into quite a deep recession, a pullback on growth because the cost of debt, the cost of money is going to get expensive relative to inflation, and you're going to wind up having, again, instability in the US economy.
So even though it may actually work in the short term, essentially what are they doing? They're just putting the Band-Aid on. They're kicking the can down the road. The inevitable is that we know that fiat currencies and governments that issue these fiat currencies, they work on a system of inflation. However, is it possible that we could be entering into a state of stagflation? And you can see right here from this simple infographic, stagflation is essentially when you have high inflation, you have low economic activity, you have poor government policies, you have high unemployment rates, and you have low GDP. And we do have that report coming out soon as well. And I'm going to bet that it's not that great, right? So we are going through these rough times, but if you look historically, and I will show you in a minute why, these are the opportunities of a lifetime. Most money is actually made in the bear markets, and you might not really understand that. How is money made in bear markets? Well, having a look at the S&P right now, just super quick, you can see we are, flipping this resistance support, right? So that's the short term, but I'm trying to keep this a little bit broader today. So remember how we had been talking about this M-shaped pattern, and we've talked about it for months, and you have to admit that's literally what Bitcoin did, and I'm not usually, one to say exactly as predicted, but we kind of called this one that it was a possibility, worst case scenario, right? And the only thing that I want to point out is if we do look at this period, from the top, right? I'm not going to go all the way back here, but from this top to this top right here. So this was essentially 7 years. This is from 2000 to 2007. So it took 7 years for the S&P to correct all the way down here, bounce all the way back up just to get back to the previous highs, only to fall all the way back down again. And then on top of that, it took until February of 2013 to get all the way back to these levels before we continued. Now, after that point, obviously I think you know what happened, but if we zoom out here and we reset this, wow, guys. So from that point where we actually broke in, 2013 up until the top, that was a 216% increase for the S&P. So this was a really terrible 13 years that, this was, happening, but it was an amazing opportunity for accumulation. And anyone that took the opportunity during that time made tremendous, tremendous gains, right? But my question is to you, and by the way, I don't think it'll last this long this time, but would you be able to, stand for that long if we didn't have a recovery? But what you do have to realize is the opportunities that lie in that. And one thing that I want to talk about is there's this mentality, and it's been going on ever since 2017, essentially. Everybody always talks about the highs, right? But you have to understand that those are times of over exuberance, right? When you're seeing that euphoria, that greed, Bitcoin going from 3,000 to 70,000, let's just stop there. 3,000 to 70,000, 2 times, right? 3,000 to 13, down to 3 again, all the way up to 70. That was an amazing opportunity to accumulate. And a lot of people were too scared to buy at those levels. Now, what we're looking at right now is the yearly chart for Bitcoin. And something you can do to just put things into perspective is rather looking at the all-time highs, why don't we look at the all-time lows? Not a lot of people do that, right? So if we come down to this first candle, the low for Bitcoin was 1 cent. I know. Imagine that. I wish. Moving on. So if we go to the next year, 2011, the low for Bitcoin, 29 cents. The next low for Bitcoin in 2012, and I'm not going to say every year, but the next low, $3.08. The next low, $12.98. $286. The next year, 163. So that was, not too great of a year, right? That was a little bit rough, but it was only 1 year. What happened the next year? That low was $354. The next low, 2017, $751. The next low, $3,148. The next low, $3,352, right? That was the bear market, right? We went up, we went down, we went up, we went down, kind of like that M-shaped pattern. The next low, this is crazy. 3,941 with a close, by the way, of 28. And, if we look at the solid body candle, that's around 6,800, okay? So you can obviously see what's going on here. And this candle, the most recent candle, has to be one of the greatest right here. The low, $27,958. So if you look at the lows on Bitcoin and stop looking at, these crazy drawdowns, because realistically, guys, if we have a look at this chart, like Adam G pointed out, Bitcoin has been historically known to have these intervals of drops of 80% or higher, right? You can see right here, 53% when they were calling it a Ponzi scheme back in 2012, 82.6% drop in 2013. And look at these other ones, 30, 35, 50. We have another 86.9%. That was when China banned Bitcoin and Bitcoin exchanges and Mt. Gox got hacked. You see that right here? Look at that drawdown. 30, 33, 38, 40, 29, and then another 84% in 2018. I lived through that. I could tell you it wasn't fun, but I continued to accumulate during that entire time period. And although it sucked when it was happening, look what happened now. We're still at 20,000. So compared to this low, still an amazing opportunity to dollar cost average. 60%, 51% on the Elon Musk crash. And as of today, Bitcoin is down 70%. And as I said, if you look at these yearly lows versus the potential gains, if you can hold out, the returns are astronomical. And as I said, when you are looking at who is buying this Bitcoin on the other side, we don't really know. We do have some speculation. I'll get to that in a minute, but I do want to do a little bit of Bitcoin analysis, because as you can see right here, the Bitfinex longs are still increasing. They have not closed their longs yet. Now, if you still think that they're just trying to play some whale games, maybe they are, but this is insane. They're putting their money where their mouth is. And if we actually go to the monthly right here, look at this right here. Look at this chart right here. This is insane. This is not a fake out. This is someone understanding how cheap Bitcoin is right now. And some people are like, oh, it might go down to 15,000. Okay, so we're already at 20. If we go down to 15, does it really even matter at that point? Like at this point, a 70% discount historically compared to, the maximum of almost 90% discount for Bitcoin, I would honestly say, not financial advice, that these are the times to be accumulating, the times to be getting that side hustle, maybe not spending as much, right? This is just how we have to do it with these cycles, especially if you didn't sell enough at the top. Now, the thing that I want to mention short term, a little bit short term here, is we have touched the level perfectly. I told you 24 wasn't going to hold. I told you that 26 was the next level. Zooming in right here, damn near perfect bounce. We missed it by literally $30. Okay, so that was a really great call if you guys were watching that. And obviously, if you guys do want to learn how to trade, it's very crazy times right now. Do it with a paper account. Check out the tutorial popping up above. There is, $23,000 in bonuses. But all kidding aside, all bonuses and trading aside, dollar cost averaging is going to be your best friend during these bearish times, right? Because that is really truly where the money is made, buying, holding, and waiting for that next move, right? We are in the bear. There's nothing we can do about that. But having a look right here, what we're seeing essentially is a potential bottom formation. Now, whether or not that bottom takes us down to maybe 19 or 18, or we close that CME futures gap, this is the optimum time to be buying Bitcoin. Now, I do expect a relief rally at some point from these levels, and this is what's going to happen. And I'm telling you because I've seen it time and time again. In fact, I did it myself a few times when I first started trading. We come down to these bearish levels, you flip your bias, you say, you know what? Let me start shorting. Let me start shorting now. Although I did say that shorting the resistances is the answer, short term. I mean, obviously right here, if you just want to draw this simple line, from this point to this point, okay, we do have a downward sloping trend right here, right? This is very apparent. So, this is going to provide a lot of resistance. So I do anticipate that Bitcoin is going to come back up to here somewhere around this $30,000 level. And to be totally honest with you, I think we're going to get rejected at this point, but I still think we're going to have that bounce. So it's, essentially, this is what happens. Down at these levels, you start shorting, they fake you out. The algos, they know what you're going to do. They pump it up. You get liquidated. Then we go up to the top over here. Oh my goodness, we're going back up to 50K, 100K, and then they pull it back down again, right? The trend is your friend, right? Until the end. We had an uptrend. The trend got broke. Now we're in a downtrend. And now, unfortunately, the downtrend, although it's not our friend, it is our friend until it's broken. We are in a downtrend, right? So we are going to be looking at these resistances. We're going to flip our thinking from supports to resistances until proven otherwise. If we break above this, specifically above 28,800, and we come up here, something like this, have a little bit of a fake out, break this, come down, find that support, continue to the upside, that would be confirmation. We're nowhere near that right now. We're in bearish territory, so we are looking to short resistances. Again, if you guys want to check out, the trading tutorials, bonuses below, etc. But ultimately, I am still anticipating that we do have a bounce up to this level. It would be extremely, extremely unlikely if we didn't do that. Now, there's always a chance we don't. I just personally, like I said, it would be a very, very, very small chance that we don't do that. Nothing goes up in a straight line and nothing goes down in a straight line. Historically, that just doesn't happen. You're not just going to continue to just crash and crash and crash and crash and crash the same way that you're not going to continue to just pump and pump and pump and pump, right? It ebbs and it flows. So ultimately, I do anticipate that we revisit around the $28,800 level. And I am keeping our eye very closely on this downtrend. This is going to be one of the most important trends to be following. So we're going to keep our eyes on it. If you're not subscribed to the Crypto Zombie channel, get subscribed. Don't worry, my future videos will be a lot more, structured. Like I said, I'm trying to make this video on the fly, but I'm trying to pack it with a lot of information for you guys because I got a lot of things going on. Also, side note, random, is anyone going to NFT NYC? I would like to go. My leg is feeling a little bit better now, but it's like a 50-50 chance. If you're going to go, drop a comment below. Maybe we can get up, hang out, chill. All right, just let me know if you guys are going. But ultimately, getting back to the charts here, we are having that traditional, wick below the 200 weekly, the same way that we did back here. And, we actually had support back here, but we did wick below it back here in 2015. And ultimately, historically, we do get above that within the week. So that is telling me that the weekend price action might be crazy, but at some point next week, we should be trading above 22,250. And we should hold that for at least a small amount of time. We do have some time until the next FOMC meeting. So there is that time for investors to sort of play around with the area. But ultimately, we have still held this upward sloping trend, which is very good for Bitcoin. This is our downtrend. Remember the one that I just showed you? So we are forming a bit of a wedge pattern or a triangle pattern, however you want to look at it. And these are the areas. I do expect consolidation. I do expect volatility to calm down as we head towards the end of the year. We could see some extreme volatility in the up and coming months, which would be really good for short-term traders if you can be smart, if you can do it without emotion. It's hard sometimes. For me, emotionally, I'm a Bitcoin bull long-term. I hold Bitcoin. I'm not selling my Bitcoin. I'm accumulating Bitcoin at these levels. But if you are looking to trade it, you have to go in without that emotion. And you have to understand that we're going to be bouncing in between these levels probably for a while, probably leading into around September when the Fed most likely starts to cool off, or at least the FOMC is not meeting as frequently, right? So that's why I said October, November, December could really be that time where Bitcoin could start to reverse. A lot of people are asking me, like, when's the best time to buy? I don't have a crystal ball, but I can tell you that the volatility is going to slow down, and we are going to be looking for a major, major move for Bitcoin by the end of this year. And if we come over here, I pointed out that historically we have these minor capitulations, right? I think I was one of the first people to talk about this. I mean, not the first, but I definitely talked about the capitulation, and then I saw a lot of other guys talking about it. Doesn't matter. I don't care. That's why the indicators are here. But what I am saying is every single time we get this, it has provided the best opportunities to buy Bitcoin. And we know that it generally takes between 1 to 3 months to get that buy signal. And once we get that buy signal, in no circumstances does the next move not provide a higher level. I guess you could say right here, we had the little COVID crash, which was a little bit of a fake out. But even from that point, we still went from $7,300 up to $10,300 before having that crash, right? So just to point that out, ultimately, we will be keeping our eyes on this. We are in the red. This is what we were expecting. And now we just play the waiting game, right? Waiting is the hardest part. It's boring. You're checking your watch. You're checking your portfolio every day, looking at the time, looking at the price. Guys, time. Time in the markets is better than trying to time the markets, right? And I'm not going anywhere. I don't care if it's bull or bear. I don't care if Bitcoin does go down to 10. Doesn't matter to me. I'm making these videos. I see a lot of people leaving the space. The engagement is down. The comments are down. No one's posting over on Twitter. Hey, you know what? Have fun. Good riddance. Leave. For the rest of us that stay here, we're going to learn, we're going to build, we're going to accumulate, and we're going to get an opportunity to front run these guys, because I'm telling you right now, this may be potentially the last opportunity for the average retail investor to ever have a chance to own even one Bitcoin, and maybe even, Ethereum, if Ethereum starts really to pump as well, because we know a lot of guys are looking into Ethereum as well. So for me, I would be making it my absolute priority to be securing myself a position, to at least get one Bitcoin. You know, some people used to say one Bitcoin's too expensive. Well, one Bitcoin is now 20,000. That's doable. That is doable. If you put your head down and you focus, you can do that. And if you know, and you know, even guys like, for example, Gareth Soloway, who is, you know, very short to midterm bearish, he's calling for a $500,000 Bitcoin. We got to get that guy on the channel, man. He actually reached out to me, and Gareth, if you're watching, come on the channel, man. We should talk a little bit. You know, you did make a really nice call at the top. I got to give that to that guy. He should get him on the channel. But, you know, ultimately, we know it's going to 250, 500, 1 million. That's life-changing money, guys. So, you know, dealing with potential stagflation, inflation, recession, whatever it is, these are those opportunities. And I can't stress it enough, guys. And as I said, you know, you're hearing, oh, the institutions are out. The institutions aren't buying. Like I said, for everybody selling, there's somebody buying. You can't sell Bitcoin if there's no one buying it, right? If there's no buyers, there's no liquidity, you can't sell it. People are still selling, somebody's buying. Right here, institutional appetite for digital assets has not slowed down, according to PolySign and MG Stover's CEOs. They had this interview, and they said, we get to see both the liquid and illiquid on the investment side, and there's so much capital still flowing into the private companies building infrastructure around this new asset class. The long-term view that these traditional asset managers make in investing is the sort of way that is really unaffected by recent market downturns. They're taking a long-term view, and they've done the work to make these decisions. The average retail investor, what are they looking at? 6 months out, a year out. These guys don't care. They're happy to buy at these levels. They want to scare you. They want to freak you out. They want you to think it's over. That's what they do. They've done it time and time and time and time again. That's what they always do, right? I can't tell you the amount of Bitcoin is dead articles that came out in 2018. I almost considered giving up at one point. I did. I was looking my girlfriend dead in the eye, and I was like, I think we screwed up. I think we made a real big mistake. I think it's over. But I stuck it out, honestly, because I had nothing to do at that point. I had all my eggs in one basket. Not recommended, which is why this time I have a cash position, which, you know, we're a lot smarter this time around, but that's what markets will do to you. But I will tell you something, guys, when this does come back, and it will come back, these guys don't care about the next 6 months, the next year. They're looking to buy long-term. The sovereign wealth funds from the UAE, what are they looking to do? Billions of dollars. They're not looking to get a 50% increase or something like that. They're looking for long-term wealth generation. They're waiting for that perfect opportunity. Heck, they might even be buying right now, right? We don't know what they're doing. They might be doing OTC deals. You can't even see that on the chart. And they're not looking at next year. They're not looking at 2 years out. They're looking at 5 years out. They're looking at 10 years out. They're looking at they're looking at the long term is essentially what I'm trying to say here. And the average institutional investor doesn't have that mind frame, but they do. And they're accumulating. And we have evidence right here from guys that run these funds. They see what's happening. They can give us the insider information that we're not seeing on the outside. So ignore the mainstream media, ignore the Bitcoin is dead narrative. If you believe in it, it shouldn't be that hard to figure out what's going on. And, you know, obviously, as you can see right here, it's not that great for these guys either. BitMEX, Deribit, and FTX liquidated 3 Arrows Capital. They owe BitMEX around $6 million. 3AC founders Su Zhu and Kyle Davies haven't responded. Wu Blockchain added that some Asian firms have also liquidated millions in 3AC positions as well, right? And this is the flush out. This is what you need in the markets. This is what we needed in the dot-com boom, right? We needed the flush out of all, you know, the speculators and pets.com and these overvalued things, these altcoins, right? These altcoins, which I love speculating on altcoins and bull runs. They're fun. I do it. I allocate 1 to 5% of my capital to altcoins. I do because, yeah, you can make 100x. That time has passed, unfortunately, unless it's altcoins that you believe in. But if it's not a blue chip right now, you are really playing with some fire with the altcoins right now. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I you know, that's just the truth of the cycles of how markets work. So ultimately, it will flush out the garbage. It will flush out the potato tokens, the yam tokens, the carrots, the DeFis, the memes, all those ones. And, you know, the ones that actually have practicality, the ones that have use cases, they will survive. They will go to new all-time highs, right? So that is up to you. I can't tell you what to do right now. You know, obviously, it's a bear market. We're going to find some good deals. I'll let you know if I see any altcoins, whatever. But, you know, right now it is very, very few between and sparse, okay? And I definitely don't want anyone speculating on something like that right now because we have seen altcoins can easily lose 99% of their value, Terra Luna, and then lose another 99%. You can actually keep losing 99% infinitely, right? You can go from $10 to $1 You can go from $1 to a penny. You can go from a penny to a fraction of a penny, you know? Dogecoin 0.00001, right? You can just infinitely keep falling, essentially. Can't go to zero theoretically, but it can go pretty damn close. And I just wanted to end on this Elon Musk news. So he essentially spoke to some employees of Twitter, and he was talking about his plans for the company. And he is saying that integration of digital payments and the elimination of cryptocurrency related scams is a top priority. He said, I think it would make sense to integrate payments into Twitter so that it's easy to send money back and forth. And if you have currency, well, crypto would obviously be a good use case for this as well. He says, my goal would be to maximize the usefulness of the service. The more useful it is, the better, he said. And if one can use it to make convenient payments, that's an increase in usefulness. So I know today's video was scattered. You don't have to tell me in the comments. I get it. I was all over the place today. I had so much I wanted to say to you guys, and there's a lot more I want to say to you guys. I just don't have enough time in these videos, unfortunately, and I don't want to be making hour-long videos, you know, dragging on. I know you guys have a lot of things to do. I get it. I didn't make a video yesterday. I'm trying to make it up to you guys today. Hopefully that was a lot of information, but we are going to be focusing on the macro. Yes, the channel is called Crypto Zombie. I get it. But we are going to be focusing a lot more on the macro picture, a little bit more into the commodity area, a little bit more into what the Fed is doing, what these government policies are, if stagflation is a possibility. These are all things we're going to be going over in the future. Make sure you get subscribed to the channel. I hope that for those of you that got into these markets in these terrible times, and maybe you made mistakes, maybe you bought the top, maybe you got scammed. I hope you didn't. Maybe you bought an altcoin that fell 90%. Maybe you got liquidated on the exchanges. I don't know, guys. It's happened to me. Every single thing that has probably happened to you has happened to me, guys. Everything. There's nothing I haven't experienced. I've been scammed. I've lost money. You know, when I first started trading, I used too high of leverage. I've been there, guys. I want to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes, and I want you to stick around because there's so much that you can learn. And this is, you know, the OG status, right? You are right now becoming an OG. Right now, if you're watching, you are becoming an OG in crypto. And by the next cycle, all the newbies are going to come back in again, and you're going to have so much knowledge to navigate this space that you're just going to do so. I don't know. I'm so proud. I love you guys. You're awesome. I'm really glad that you guys are sticking it out. It's going to be all right. Take a deep breath, go outside, take a walk. I love you. It's just the ebb and flow. We knew at some point the inflation was going to be an issue. Will we ever solve that problem? Probably not, guys. Short term, it's going to be rough. I hope they stop ripping the Band-Aid off. I hope they stop kicking the can down the road. I hope they just get it over with fast and swift. They probably won't. Will they chicken out? It's a possibility. Either way, guys, bull market, bear market, 1,000% increase, 90% drop. I will be here for you. I have a Telegram group if you guys want to hang out and check that out. I hope you guys are having a wonderful and beautiful day. I hope you guys appreciated this video. You're awesome. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Make sure you check out these videos that are popping up right here, right now. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, my friends, I love you. Peace out.